We've all heard of SMART goals, right? It's a system of goal setting designed to keep you motivated and focused by giving you a clear sense of direction and action plan. Back in the 80s. And while mentally I still think of the 80s as being just 20 years ago, thank you Y2K, in reality, the 80s were 40 years ago. Things have changed since then. And how you set your goals for your business or for your book writing or anything else that you want to accomplish, they need to change too. Before I forget, make sure you subscribe to my channel for the best tips on how to build your business by writing a book. And hit that bell to be notified when I post a new video every week. As a freelance B2B ghostwriter, I have helped dozens of small business owners write and publish their nonfiction books to grow their business. And one of the first things I tell them is to throw their SMART goals out the window. Here's why. So, like I said, we all know what a SMART goal is, right? They've been around since 1981. Thank you, George T. Doerr. If you have even an ounce of ambition, you know exactly what these are and what they're supposed to be. Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. And the experts would have you believe that this is the best way to set a goal. And to be honest, I was right there with them for a long time. After all, SMART goals lend themselves very well to lists. And I've never met a list I didn't like. I've got lists of my lists. But here's where I struggle with SMART goals. I know they are attainable and realistic, which are two of the defining qualities of a SMART goal at the time that I set them, right? So if I fail to meet that goal, where does that leave me? Does it mean I'm not working hard enough? Well, I don't see how that can be. I am swamped pretty much 24/7. Does it mean I'm not prioritizing? Again, I don't see how that can be. Both my kids are fed, warm, happy. I'm meeting my deadlines, getting my bills paid, and still getting supper on the table. Does it mean I didn't want it bad enough? That I didn't have the willpower to go out and get it? Or that I didn't understand the follow-through necessary to go out and get it? Of course not. Failing at a SMART goal isn't a reflection of me, my ability, or my work ethic at all. It's just a sign that a SMART goal didn't work for that situation. Another interesting tidbit about the so-called SMART goal, leaders tend to like them a lot more than the people being led do. In fact, Leadership IQ conducted a survey in which they found that only 15% of employees strongly agree that their goals will help them achieve things. And only 13% of employees strongly agree that their goals this year will help them maximize their full potential. I will link to that survey below in the description. So, if less than 15% of employees believe that having SMART goals are going to help them, then what's the point? And why are they so popular? The answer is in the timeline. The 1980s. Greed was good, hair was big, and all people cared about was the bottom line, the numbers. SMART goals are really good if you're focused on the numbers and can keep that end goal top of mind. Your entire sense of motivation comes from the thought of attaining those numbers at the end. But that's about it. And entrepreneurs today know that those numbers aren't the only things that matter. So let's take a moment to think about all the times you've set a goal and started working really hard for it, all the while thinking about how great it's going to be once you get it. Publishing your book, for example. This is an example that I have seen hundreds of times. Comment down below if that is one of your goals this year, to finally get that book of yours written up and published. So, writing and publishing a book. January, you go to town. You sit down, you start pounding out the words, you're outlining like a fiend. You are prioritizing, you are getting everything good to go because your goal is to write and publish a book this year. February, same thing. You sit down and you keep going. You write out your chapters. You get your hook just perfect. You find the perfect title. You get everything set up. You've got your freebies set up. You are on a roll and you made it. Then in March, you head over to Amazon and buy a few books on how to submit query letters to agents and publishers while you send your masterpiece off to an editor. And 2 months later, give or take, you get back that all-important feedback. And there is so much red. But now you've had a couple months break from writing on this book. So it's going to take a little while to get back into the groove of things. And all those red marks are overwhelming. So you need a break anyway. And because you're good at what you do, things are swamped at your business. And you just keep continuing to grow. By the time July rolls around, you're feeling defeated, pressured, and guilty for not having more motivation to writing and finishing this book. In October, you get a second wave of motivation and find some time to work on that book and start querying agents, most of whom have asked for further rewrites to your book. And before you know it, December is rolling around and a new year is about to begin. And are you any closer to your goal of getting that book out and published? Or maybe it didn't happen exactly this way. Maybe you made it through the editing process just fine and stalled out while writing the query letters. Or maybe you stalled out when publishers started rejecting your book. Maybe you haven't even finished writing the book yet because you weren't able to SMART goal your way through the overwhelm associated with that. However it happened, once you start feeling as though your goals have defeated you, there's really only two options left. Back to the drawing board to try again, set a new goal, and hopefully it will work better this time, or give up and try something else entirely. The other thing about a SMART goal, especially for writing that book, is they keep you stuck in your comfort zone. Don't get me wrong, I am not one of those people who believes that you have to practically live outside of your comfort zone in order to get anything done. Comfort zones are important, and spending an appropriate amount of time inside those zones is also important. That's where we recharge, where we evaluate everything we've done, examine our accomplishments, and recognize our growth. Comfort zones are the perfect zones for introspection and reflection, which is just as important for development and growth as stepping outside those comfort zones are. However, SMART goals keep you staunchly inside your comfort zone by design. Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. It wants you to choose those goals you know without a doubt you could achieve. The idea behind this is pretty simple. The more you achieve, then the higher you can strive. So if you're setting your goals that you know you can achieve, then you will definitely achieve them, according to the SMART goals. But if you're never reaching beyond that which you know you can achieve, where's the growth? And if you can't reach that goal you've set that you should be able to reach because it was attainable and realistic, then who's at fault? You or the goal? Don't get me wrong here. I am not suggesting that you reach for something ludicrous. If you've just developed an interest in acting, don't go quitting your day job and head out to Hollywood based on the fact that you want to be the next Jack Nicholson or Gina Davis. Maybe start by taking a few acting classes, audition for a few plays, get into your local community theater, and start networking with some actors before you try jumping over to Hollywood. But shooting for something realistic entails knowledge that you will definitely be able to attain it. There's no risk of failure in that. No thrill of chasing down that ambition. There is nothing in the journey to help you get there or learn from. So what do? You still need to set goals, right? Of course you do. Goal setting is an important part of the process. They still give you direction and a roadmap for how to get to where you want to go. If you want to write that book this year, you need to set a goal to get it done, just not a SMART goal. This is where quality goals come in. Quality goals take the best part of SMART goals, the specificity and the ability to measure, and add in the parts that are missing. For a goal to be truly truly effective, it must be quantifiable. Will you be able to measure and evaluate progress toward that goal? Uplifting. Will the journey toward the goal benefit or enrich your life in some way as much as attaining the goal would? Ambitious. Will the goal push you far enough outside of your comfort zone to spark real growth? Will it challenge you? Lasting consistency. Will the goal require you to work consistently toward it, or will taking any kind of a break completely derail your progress and knock you off track? Impact. Will attaining the goal have an impact on some part of your life or the lives of people around you? And how significant will that impact be? Thrilling. Does the prospect of achieving that goal hold enough excitement to keep you motivated and driven toward it? Will you be compelled to continue striving? And your true value. Will attaining that goal bring you closer to your sense of self? And before you ask why I haven't included timely into my equation here, I don't believe in self-imposed deadlines. I know some people believe they work by adding in some added pressure. And if you happen to be one of those people, then I applaud you and say go for it. However, I find that self-imposed deadlines are just too easy to gloss over or bump onto the back burner because of more pressing matters. And besides, a goal like writing a book shouldn't make you feel stressed out, guilty, or defeated while you work on it. It should make you feel energized and excited as you get closer to finishing. SMART goals have been around forever, almost as long as I've been around. And yes, they do work for some people. And if you are playing a numbers game, SMART goals is the way to go. But today, it's no longer a numbers game. The journey has to mean just as much as the goal does. The process of writing your nonfiction book should feel as exhilarating as seeing your book in print will feel. When it comes to setting goals for writing, it's got to be quality over smarts. If you're interested in learning more about setting up quality goals for your first nonfiction book, check out my free quality goal setting worksheet. It's based on the exact questions I use to help clients set up their goals. I'll put a link in the description below so you can go ahead and grab that. And if you're wondering how you're going to be able to find the time to write your nonfiction book while you're doing all the other things, like running a business, check out my video on finding time to write here. Throw me a thumbs up if you like this video, subscribe if you want to see more, and I will see you right over there. Bye!